All right. Well, welcome everybody to our weekly Kingdom Politics podcast with Pastor Will and Dr. Michael Huffman. And how are you doing today, sir?
Good. How about yourself?
Pretty good.
I know you got your mind on the ocean.
Yeah. So I head out to Alaska in 4 days, 5 days. I fly out on Sunday. So if you're watching live, I didn't leave yet, but if you listen to it later, I might be in Alaska.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah. So I don't take a lot of vacations. People should never take advice from me in regards to time off because I don't take a lot of it. I think it's the first big vacation we've taken, my family's taken in 3 years. Since 11. Yeah, 3 years.
Wow.
We went to Puerto Rico 3 years ago.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, we take time off, but
Sure. Yeah.
like to travel, this is the biggest one in 3 years.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Good deal.
My son gets to go fishing for real. Like out on the ocean and for salmon on one of the days. This is going to be awesome.
Very good. Nothing wrong with that.
Now, and my phone doesn't work in Alaska.
Yeah, that's the best part, man. You literally shut it off.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I'll try to maybe post some pictures or something when I can. But yeah, it's gonna be awesome. But
Make all of us there on the mainland jealous.
yeah, I went to Alaska once. I had to go there for the military, but this is gonna be different this time. It's gonna be more fun.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt.
So I can't wait. All right, so today we're gonna dive into a couple different topics, but first up, we're gonna talk about the SEC vote that happened on Saturday in regards to the Republican Party of Virginia. Actually, this is an interesting episode. I was thinking about this earlier when we decided what we were going to talk about. We're going to talk about Republicans and Democrats today.
Yeah. Not blame to go around.
Yeah. And that's, again, following the Bible, having discernment. We have to use that in the Republican Party. Well, let's get into let's explain what the SEC is first so people understand. Because I had to look it up myself, and what the Republican Party of Virginia, and then we can dive into the vote.
Yeah.
So they are the state central committee, and they are the governing structure of the Republican Party of Virginia. And they had a vote on Saturday. So what they do is basically run the party for the state. They have a board. Do they call it a board?
Yeah, of sorts. It's a committee, but yeah, they don't. I mean, they have a chair and a vice chair and a national chair and all that, but they're called a committee more than a board. It's about my goodness, it's let's see, it's about almost 70 of them. 70 of them.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
And so they had a vote. So we talked about it. With Pastor Mike. Yeah, we talked about it. So a month ago, they voted to essentially punt it, the vote on the amendments until this past Saturday, and then they voted to oppose them. So credit for them for opposing the three amendments. So the three amendments that are on the ballot in November are the abortion amendment, the marriage amendment, and then the restoration of rights amendment. They voted 55 to 17,
yes.
I believe was the vote.
Yes.
To oppose them.
Yeah. And it may surprise you, some of the people that voted no. And of course, just for our viewers, a no vote would be basically saying we want to remain neutral. We don't want to oppose these three. Now, what they did first, because VAIB was there, and we recorded both audio and video, not the entire meeting, but at least the vote, the important reason why we were there. And they actually voted to whether or not they were going to take these three amendments in a block or they were going to take them individually. And they voted somewhat overwhelmingly. A great. It wasn't as great a gap as the actual vote itself, but the vote was basically to take them as a block, and all three. And because there were some people that voted, like Stacey Gordon, she voted a no. Christy Way, and again, this is all public knowledge. I'm not revealing any secrets here.
Right.
You just only thing I do go to VAIB Sutherland or the Kingdom Politics, and we'll have that stuff on the website. Christy Way is the vice chair. She voted no, and actually that surprised me because I grew up with her. I went to high school with her.
Really?
Yeah. Her father was an Episcopal pastor before the Episcopal Church started ordaining homosexuals to the clergy, of course.
Right.
And she voted no. And believe it or not, Will, Mark Early's old L.A. Sarah voted no. And it was as a staunch Democrat as Mark Early is from Chesterfield. His former legislative aide was there, and she voted. She's on the committee. And she voted no.
You know what surprised me was the number of young Republicans that voted no.
Yes. Yeah.
That was honestly surprising to me because at least the younger people that I deal with are very pro-life and very conservative. Now, granted, I usually run in the TPUSA circles, and so maybe it's a different circle of people.
Well, you know why is I think because I was a guest at a Young Republicans meeting some time ago.
Yeah,
and I'm not quite sure they knew what to do with me. Because while the majority of them there were pro-life, I didn't get the impression that the majority of I'm not going to say the majority because there were some good people that I know that are part of that committee, but
yeah,
I didn't get the impression that several of the members of that committee were pro-traditional marriage. And also got that impression at the SEC meeting last week that because a few of them, Jill Cook, who was a secretary, she voted no, but she said that she opposes all three, but this was a process vote. Well, I'm not really sure what she meant by this is a process vote. And several of them said that voted no, said, I want to go on record as I'm against the abortion amendment. So it led me to believe, okay, you might be pro-life, but you're not pro-traditional marriage. And if they had voted to take these separately, then they probably would have voted yes on the abortion and no on the same-sex marriage and no on the restoration of rights. The restoration of rights as a amendment by itself never really came up. But when somebody says, I'm going to vote no, but I want to go on a record that I'm against the abortion amendment, well, for me, that's the marriage is probably where they're equivocating.
Yeah, the Book of James talks about it. You can't be double-minded.
Right.
You can't, from a biblical standpoint, not a Republican or a political standpoint. Well, even from a political standpoint, I know I sent it to you the other day because I couldn't go to the meeting. But among Republicans, at least, same-sex marriage support is all the way down to 37% in 2026.
Yeah.
In a recent study that came out. Now, on the Democratic side, it's obviously still quite high.
Yeah.
But on the Republican side, it's falling quickly. And the people that I talk to, we just want people to go, and if it's the Republican Party, then that's fine. But to go and stand on something.
Yeah.
And my point of view is this: these amendments are none of this is new. It's taken years at this point to get them to where they're at now, to go to the vote for the people as the ballot initiatives that we'll vote on in November. Obviously, we did the redistricting one already, and then we have these three coming up next. But why does it take so long? These are not new; they've been around for a while. I know there was an event last year because I spoke at it, but we've been I know you've been speaking about both of them, the marriage and the abortion one a lot. I've done the same thing. We don't have to move this slow.
Right.
Why did the vote get pushed at all? And then why did 17 people not? This is the problem Christians run into in politics. And when people come tell me, well, why would I vote for the Republican Party? This is when they get proved correct.
Yeah.
In that argument, because it's not a bad argument.
No, it's not. And at the May 30th meeting, when they originally were going to vote on it, I think we talked about this last week, when they were originally going to vote on it, William Deutsch, who's the gentleman who made the motion to oppose all three, the language of the proposal was that the Republican Party for Virginia opposes all three constitutional amendments and encourages all Virginians to do so, to do likewise. That's kind of the nuts and bolts of what the proposal that William Deutsch brought to the SEC. And on May 30th, right before a vote was to be taken, someone had said, well, let's send this back to the resolutions committee of each unit. And that passed 32-30, which they did.
Yeah.
And which most units that I have been familiar with and I've kept track of, even in the more what you and I would call the more liberal parts of the Commonwealth, even they voted in their units, and some units, contrary to Jason Maury's encouragement, voted to oppose all three.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, we're talking Fairfax. They voted to oppose all three, the unit there. So then that got back to the SEC, and but you're right, Will. This did not need to be tabled on the 30th, and that's what I told many people that I'd spoken with between the 30th and the 13th was, listen, these three amendments go contrary to the creed. Okay, if you take Christianity out of it, you take the Bible out of it. For those on the committee that don't care about what the Word of God says, because not all Republicans are Christians.
Correct.
Just if you take the Bible out of it, take God out of it, and just look at the creed. Of course, you and I don't, but just look at the creed of the Republican Party. The last point of the creed of the Republican Party is that the faith in God, the faith of our founding fathers, should be what orchestrates our nation and our Commonwealth.
Yeah.
And so if you really follow the creed of the Republican Party of Virginia, it's a no-brainer to oppose these three. I even had one person tell me, because what I did is on Monday when I got back into the office, I sent, I didn't have any committee that day, so I was in the office and I had sent an email to all 17 people that voted no. And I've gotten a response back from a few. I've gotten 5 responses back, and I have received 5 responses, and that was 5 more than I thought that I would get. But one person told me who voted no, well, what people don't really understand is what we were really voting on was that the SEC would mandate, however they voted would be a mandate for all the other units of how they were going to act. And she says, I just didn't agree with that. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Huh? And I emailed her back and I said, I appreciate what you're saying. I said, but that is the exact point of the RPV. Yeah. If these local units aren't going to follow what the RPV says, then that local unit needs to be dissolved, reformed, and needs new leadership. Because that's the job of the RPV, to direct the local chapters of how they need to handle their local areas.
Yeah, that's the state. That's leadership.
Yeah. The RPV can't reach every corner of the Commonwealth, so that's why you've got units, and that's exactly what these units should do, is to go by what the dictates of the RPV are. So to tell me that you voted no because that's what you were voting on, well, of course that's what you were voting on.
Yeah.
That's no secret.
No, they should fall in line. That's the point of being a unified, we discuss these issues and we come to an agreement on, for you and I, it's from a biblical standpoint, that we oppose these. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's part of being the same kind of, same kind of wishy-washy stuff. That's the problem with the church.
Yeah.
This person. No, here's the core values of Christianity. This is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And these things we can't. The primary beliefs of Christianity are not up for debate.
Right.
The secondary ones, let's have a great theological discussion all day long. And it's the same thing with the Republican Party, where on the other side, the Democrats are all in lockstep.
Yeah.
The whole step of the way. And if they're not, they get primary.
Yeah. Yep.
If they don't fall in line with the abortion and the marriage, that's why the same-sex marriage is still at such a high rate for Democrats. Because if you dare say anything against it, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Your seat is gone the next time you're up. And now you have the Republican Party in Virginia, at least. People want strong leadership.
Yes.
It's just a function of human. People like to follow strong leaders. I saw the military. You can see it in churches. You can see it in businesses. You can see it everywhere. Teams. But teams win. The ones with strong leaders.
And the thing about it is, if you don't have a strong leader, people will listen to whatever voice is talking.
Yeah.
Even if that voice is telling them the wrong thing. If pastors don't step up, and here's my Achilles heel. Here's my issue. When pastors don't step up and lead, and don't step up and speak, because I don't want to offend somebody. I've got Democrats in my church, whatever the excuse may be. When pastors don't lead the way they should lead, what's going to happen is their people are going to listen to whoever is talking, and the voice that's talking, pastor, I guarantee you don't want your people listening to.
Yeah. If the church is not discipling people, the world is more than happy to do it.
Absolutely.
More than happy to step in, and it's all over the place. You entertainment, everything. We just had the baseball thing. The guy wrote a Bible verse on his hat, and he got a warning from Major League Baseball.
Well, I saw something like what did the pitcher for the San Francisco Giants say? And I read it. He made a statement about his faith in God, and I thought to myself, I read it, well, you won't be pitching long, San Francisco. You won't be pitching long.
Well, it's interesting. Well, that whole thing's interesting because Clayton Kershaw, who's a Hall of Fame pitcher, did the same thing last year before he retired. So he's not pitching anymore. He retired at the end of the year when they won the World Series. He did the same thing, and nobody said anything.
Yeah.
He's going to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So there's the difference there. It depends who you are, where they take a shot.
Yes.
They don't dare take a shot at Clayton Kershaw. Mm-hmm. He's made an immense amount of money. He's one of the best pitchers of all time. And he's going to the Hall of Fame. So they say nothing.
Yeah.
It's easy to... Not that it was easy for Clayton Kershaw to do that, by the way. I didn't mean it like that. I just meant it's easy... It's easy to not say anything. And it's easy to... the Republican Party to just kind of concede these points because these are hard subjects, but it requires strong leadership.
Yeah,
that's what's missing in Virginia right now. We lack on either side. We lack strong leadership.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. And I have spoken with so many delegates. The 5 delegates that voted yes for this same-sex marriage amendment in the House, they just don't. Well, I'm not saying that you and I are smarter.
No,
although I think we probably are than some of them. Maybe, but it's common sense. Okay, and I look at them and say, when they try to tell me, well, I can't. I had one delegate, Joe McNamara from over in Blacksburg. He said, Michael, I can't tell people who they can love. I was like, what? I said, what amendment? I said, delegate, what amendment are you reading? I said, because what you just said, they can do that now. This amendment isn't going to, that's the problem. Okay, yeah. you want to enshrine same-sex marriage in our, no, you want to do a whole lot more than that, because it's already legal for for a same-sex couple in the Commonwealth of Virginia to be married and enjoy all the rights that a heterosexual couple enjoys. That's already legal.
Correct.
You can already do that. Thanks to I think that was back in 14 or 15 was made legal in the Commonwealth. So I mean, that's an old statute. That's not new stuff.
No.
What they're trying to, and then they say, well, we want our Constitution to match the federal Constitution. Well, our federal Constitution doesn't say anything about marriage. So take 15-A out. I don't know that I would necessarily oppose that because the government doesn't dictate what a marriage is anyway.
No, it's what was I going to say? The feelings. We have to get past people's feelings. Everything is about people's feelings now, and how is it going for society right now?
Yes.
When all we do is focus on people's feelings. We got to make sure people are happy. We don't want to offend anyone. We don't want to do this, and we don't want to do that. It's not going well.
No.
At all. Even in the church, it's called a monotheistic therapeutic deism is the fancy theological term for what the church does now.
Mm.
Which basically means, in plain English, we do follow one God, but we more care about your feelings than we care about your eternity.
Yeah.
Is basically what that means.
We want to coddle you into hell.
Yeah. Well, C.S. Lewis said, God doesn't send people to hell. People choose it.
Yeah.
Now, he said it was better than me, but that's basically what he said. We don't want to mandate what people are saying. That's the point of the party.
Yeah.
When a candidate is running on a platform, he's telling us what he's going to mandate. Correct?
Yeah.
When he says taxes and he says this and that, or she, that person is telling us, if I'm elected, these are the things that I'm going to attempt to mandate.
Yes.
When they pass laws, they're mandating what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether it's good or not, that's another debate. But that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
When Major League Baseball warns you that you shouldn't put a Bible verse on a hat, as misguided as it is, and that's why Senator Hawley sent them a nice letter.
Mm-hmm.
They are mandating, don't do this.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you money. All of us have rules to follow in life. There is no such thing as a society without rules. And there's no such thing as an organization without rules. That's just chaos.
Right.
And what the Republican Party should have done is stepped up big time and said, all three of these are bad news. They go against the family. They go against life. I mean, we have a literal life and death amendment on the ballot.
Yes.
It shouldn't be up for debate if we're going to oppose it or not.
Right.
And they should have done it a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like a long time ago. Why does it take so long?
Right.
We live in the fastest dissemination of information in the history of the world. You and I come together on Wednesdays, but we text and talk to each other all the time, and we're both at opposite ends of wherever we're at. We can do it in an instant.
Yeah.
But we have to have 13 votes. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is. Crazy is the best thing you can say about it.
Yeah, I'm not saying you should be able to just let her rip and do whatever you want, but some of this stuff is easy.
Yeah.
And we make it way more difficult than it needs to be. And they could be putting out videos. They could be doing all these different things. And we'll have to wait and see if they do that. Please, Republican Party, if you listen to this, please just step up and be strong.
Follow your creed.
Yeah, just follow your values. Stick with your values. You stay strong on your values.
And I tell you what the truth is, I sat there in that meeting, and there were some people in that room that were representing Republican units throughout the Commonwealth. There was a lot of anger. I mean, at them, at each other. There was a lot of anger in that room. And the problem is, it wasn't anger toward the amendments. There was anger on the faces of people toward one another. In fact, earlier on in the meeting, Patty Lyman who's a friend of VAIB, is a friend of mine. She's a national chairwoman for the RPV, and she does a lot on social media, as you and I do.
Yeah.
And they did a vote on whether they want to take these in a block or individually. And then after the vote was taken, one of the members toward the back of the room stood up and says, Mr. Chair, who's the chair is Jeff Ryer. He said, Mr. Chair, I want to know if the national chairwoman is satisfied with the vote, or she is going to speak about her dissatisfaction on social media. I mean, I was like, grow up, fella.
Oh my God.
And there was a lot of anger in that room. Of course, there was some non-party, non-committee people in there with their signs and everything, and then they started shouting about how every one of them are going to lose their next election. The Republican Party has no backbone, and all this, and all the other. And okay, if that's your personal thought, I think that there are some backbone issues with the Republican Party. Sure, I think that there's no doubt about that. But okay, there's a time and place for everything, and for you to get up in the middle of an RPV meeting of the SEC and just the councilman, there was a councilman there from Fredericksburg. He got kicked out of the meeting because of the way he was acting. I mean, here's a councilman from Fredericksburg got kicked out of the meeting, was recording the video, right down there at front, right beside Scott Wyatt, and Scott. Of course, each party has a Senate and House representative, right beside Scott Wyatt and Delegate Wendell Walker. And first they made him move to the back, and then he wouldn't act like a human. And so then they had to kick him out of the meeting. And here's a politician. Here's a member of the city council of Fredericksburg got kicked out of an SEC meeting.
That's crazy.
And like I said, Will, there was just a lot of anger in that room that day. And you and I both sat in session when you got Democrats and Republicans going at each other. But I can be very safe to say that I felt a level of hatred in that room, or not hatred, anger in that room that I've never felt in session.
Yeah, that's sad. You gotta have strong leadership.
Yeah,
that stuff goes away when we're working together and there's a strong leader at the top, and you're notching some W's too. By the way, the Republicans are not setting up too many W's as of late.
No.
And so we'll keep an eye on the Republican Party and what they're going to do with these amendments. My prayer is that they do more than just release a statement saying they oppose them.
Well, they said that they took up another resolution to actually create work kits. Distribute those to whatever they're going to consist of. But of course, we are in middle of June.
It's June.
So I mean, are you a day late, $1 short for that? We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, my experience with the amendments is you have got to have people out there talking about them so that they can answer questions and they can ask questions. People can ask questions and you can explain it to people.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way they're written is super vague, really not that descriptive, and on purpose because it allows so much. And they're going to shoehorn in so much stuff because of the 3 amendments. And the ballot questions, of course, are going to be deceptive.
Yes.
And so you have to have more than work kits. You have to have people out there spreading the word and being able to hold these meetings and talk to people about it, because that's what changes people's minds.
Yes.
There's too many work kits in the world.
Yeah. And we don't need we need another work kit, like we need another psychologist, right?
I don't need another work. Maybe it'll be like fill in the blank, like,
well,
what do you think abortion is? Underscore, multiple choice.
Well, I hope it comes with a coloring book.
Some people need it. I need one.
That's the one to Louise Lucas.
Yeah, let's talk about the budget. So if you're watching, what's today, the 17th, there's still no budgets for the state of Virginia. Yeah. If you watch this afterwards, we recorded this on the 17th, so maybe they get something done before then. It won't be before next week, though.
No.
because they already canceled the meeting for tomorrow. They're at a stalemate. I know we're going to talk about the cannabis thing. I want to talk real quick about the data center thing.
Yeah. Go.
So the House and the governor do not want to give data centers tax breaks. I don't know if you saw it on social media earlier today before we had a meeting and then started recording. Governor Spanberger got protested in my favorite county in the world, Loudoun County.
Wow. Pretty damn the Democrat gets protested in Loudoun.
I know, right? It's probably the most liberal place I've ever been in my entire life, and the stuff that comes out of there is wild. And even they're upset about this. That she got protested. I don't know why she was there today. I just saw that she got protested. But
what is the tax break that they want to give? Is it millions?
So currently they get sales and use tax. They're exempt from, and I believe they're exempt from when they buy land. I had it. I know it's sales and use tax. They're exempt from. So when they buy all the equipment, like all the servers, the HVAC units, all of that stuff is all tax free.
Wow.
And I didn't run the numbers myself, but according to Senator Louise Lucas, if we taxed the data centers, it would be an extra $2 billion to the state of Virginia every year. Now, take that with a grain of salt. I didn't actually run the numbers myself, but that's what she is reporting.
Well, they could fund their cannabis retail with that.
Well, and that's the point I wanted to make was, while in this instance I do agree that the data center should pay their own way, I also think the state of Virginia should stop stepping on the board of supervisors in various different places, because when the data centers come in, they also have to redo the power.
Yes.
And that's a big deal.
Yes.
And the board of supervisors are getting stepped on
and blamed
at the same time for the power lines. Now, they may be blamed for the data centers, but don't think that they're going to take that $2 billion. Let's say they go for it and they get the taxes. Don't think they're going to take that $2 billion and do something for the citizens with it.
Right.
We may agree with her on this one small point, or the Senate at least. She just is leading the way. But this is not going to be a win either way.
Right.
For the citizens of Virginia. They will do something else with that $2 billion. It is interesting. She ran on being a moderate and being for the people. And this is one where, at least from what I can see, the data center thing is fairly bipartisan among regular citizens.
Yeah.
Like I said, Loudoun County protested it.
Well, Louise Lucas's number's not far off. I looked it up on a source other than a Democrat, and the Virginia, you talked about the retail sale and use tax exemption. That alone is $1.9 billion a year that the state is not going to get.
So probably pretty close.
She's pretty. That's the number. It's pretty close. So I remember when Walmart, for example, came into, and this is what people do when Walmart came into Louisa County. One of the ways that Louisa County got the Walmart Corporation to come into the county was offer them tax-free for the first 10 years over there.
Yeah, so that's how the data center thing happened. Yeah. It was 2008, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what nobody could have seen coming, so I'm not blaming anyone from 2008. What nobody could have seen coming was the number of data centers. And now the AI data centers, the water usage, the grid, the electricity, nobody could have seen. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe they could have seen it coming. I don't know. I wasn't in those meetings. So maybe I'm giving them too much grace.
Well, in 2010, when they first started talking about this economic development incentive, the projection was only $1.5 million of tax break. And that's far cry from $1.9 billion.
That's a big difference.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, so perhaps failure to see into the future. I don't know. I try to give people a little grace on that one. I don't think people could have seen the explosion of AI I'm sure some people did. Some really smart person,
Mhm.
way smarter than me, saw all of this coming. But to ask politicians to see this coming is probably a bit of an ask.
Yeah.
But now you can. But now, I mean, they're already here, and we know the effects. And I'm not sure why we can't renegotiate. And I don't know why she's so staunch to not negotiate with the data centers when almost everyone, other than someone who's getting paid by the data centers, wants to renegotiate.
Yeah.
Places like Florida have already set up, things in place. California, of all places, is setting up things, to prevent what's going on here. Now maybe they're just smart and they're learning our lesson.
So
That's probably in Florida's case, but when California takes steps to,
right.
we should look at it and go, wait a second. And so that's the big hold up is the data centers. I don't know what they do with that. That's a lot of these tech companies have a massive amount of money.
Mhm.
Dominion Energy, which I know is merging, so they'll have a different name, or maybe they'll keep the name, but they're merging. Dominion Energy is set to make a ton of money.
Yeah, they're merging with what's it called? Next
Next
era energy.
That's what it is.
They are going to keep it's about it's a $67 billion buyout or merge,
Yeah.
and they are going to keep the name Dominion, just like Next Era Energy is Florida based, and the company they own down there is Florida Power and Light. And I was in a committee meeting the other day, and they were talking about that merger, and there were people there who drove all the way up here from Florida to beg because it has to go through the State Corporation Commission. Of course, it can't just happen. And right now, no petition has been filed with the SEC to allow to even request that this take place. But there were people that had driven up from Florida that begged the SEC that were in this meeting that if you don't want the power bills of residents of the Commonwealth to skyrocket, do not allow Next Era Energy to come into the Commonwealth of Virginia. They said they have absolutely torn up Florida Power and Light.
That's interesting because I have Dominion Energy, and they already sent me an email
Did they really? Yeah.
that this was happening.
Yeah, well, they are saying that, but they haven't even filed with the SEC yet. So they're pretty confident the SEC is going to approve it, but it has to go through the processes. And so they're being a little bit premature to say if this is going to happen because, like I said, according to this the committee that I was in last week on the Capitol, FCC, there was a representative from the FCC. She says, we have not even received a request for this yet.
I wonder if they're going to wait and see what this data center stuff does. That's probably why they bought them, because it's a lot of money for them.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I realize she's made a lot of missteps, and I realize that she's the least popular governor ever in Virginia. But I think it's more of a indication that they don't care.
No.
To even listen. I will give Louise Lucas credit. She at least is going out and doing some kind of listening tour or something about the data centers. Again, what comes of that, I have no idea. But
she's trying to raise money for a court case.
Well, yeah, she's got her own problems. That's where that $2 billion in taxes is going to go.
Right. I can't give that. I can't give that to Google or Amazon. I got to have that myself.
Yeah, you have to. I don't know. It's such an easy win.
Yeah,
it really is.
Did you hear what Louise Lucas said this week?
I don't know. She's been calling everybody names.
Yeah, I mean, Don Scott has accused her on social media of starting a civil war on social media for all the stuff that she said about her Democrat counterparts. But she actually said this week, I never thought that I'd hear Louise Lucas say something confident, not confident, well, that too, but I never hear Louise Lucas say anything complimentary about Governor Youngkin. And she came out this week and said, well, at least he had the courtesy to call me and discuss with me any bill of mine that he was going to veto. But she says I didn't get that courtesy from Governor Spanberger.
Well, Spanberger's running the Biden playbook.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You never see her. If you see her, it's in a very controlled environment, like a signing or something. She's not giving a ton of interviews. If she is, it's not like a one-on-one interview.
Yeah.
Like with Nick Minaj or something like
Yeah.
that. Right? It's a
Not anymore.
recorded. Yeah. I wish it was. I would love to see him interview her. But it's a recorded video,
Right.
and you know she's reading a script.
Of course.
So it's not off the cuff, and it's all very controlled. I thought the same thing when the debate happened and she was getting asked those hard questions by Winsome Sears about boys and girls locker rooms and such, and she just didn't say anything.
Right.
Nothing. Now I thought that was a kill shot for her candidacy. I was wrong.
Just like two bullets Jones, we thought that was a kill shot for his.
Well, yeah, that's fair. That's even a better point.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's all very controlled with her.
Yeah.
And it's very hurried. She gets in, she gets out of places.
She wants to talk about the fact of her, especially on these assault weapon things, and she's foregoing ownership because I used to be on the former CIA and all this. Man, she was an analyst. She wasn't a CIA operative.
No,
she sat at a desk behind a computer.
Yeah,
as an analyst. Okay, was she a member of the CIA? Yes. Did she probably carry a weapon? Maybe. Did she need to? No, because she sat behind a computer and she was an analyst. Don't portray yourself as some type of CIA operative and you understand gun rights and you want to protect gun rights, because that wasn't you.
Well, and it doesn't bode well for confidence for the next 3 years, because who's actually in charge then? I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to be like a conspiracy person, but we don't get to hear her just speak,
right,
or ask questions to her. Maybe not you and I, but like I said, there's plenty of journalists, even friendly ones, to her, party that could do it.
Right.
Maybe softballs, and they probably planned it ahead of time. But at least you could see her speak in a more natural environment. The times that like when the Stephanie Minter murder happened and Nick did catch up with her, it was awkward. Now, she was very rude and definitely didn't answer the question. They definitely rushed her to the car, the vehicle. Well, she was in, but
is that the one that she blamed them for not getting the right paperwork?
Yeah, she blamed ICE, and that's fine. That was always going to be her answer. But the way she answered it was super awkward.
Yeah,
like the mannerisms, and it just wasn't how a person speaks.
Yeah, you can always tell when someone really. Okay, there's an old psychology thing that you go, okay, if somebody is, depending on the direction that their eyes are going, depend on whether they're lying or telling the truth. Because one direction is if they're making up a story, the other direction is they're trying to recall facts. And I think if they're looking off to the right, they're making up a story, and if they're looking off to the left, they're trying to recall facts. But don't hold me on to that. But
the internet's going to let you up.
Now you got that wrong. It's the other way. Get your facts straight. Well, you can always tell when you're getting a line of malarkey from a politician. They got a lot of and she says a lot of ums.
It's just awkward,
and it is awkward. That's the best word for it. Awkward.
Like, you would think someone that's the governor would be a little more polished.
Yeah.
I'm not the best public speaker in the world, but I can do it. I'm sure anybody can. I don't know if colleges still teach that. I had to take it in college, public speaking.
Oh, the Christian school in my church, you can't graduate from high school without taking a speech class.
Yeah. I mean, we have kids at our church get up and pray in front of 100, don't know, 40 people.
Sure.
That's nerve-wracking.
I tell you what the fact of the matter is, you just said something about the internet. I might have to bar Charlie.
Need security.
I need some security.
Charlie's your guy.
Charlie's a tough guy, but man, he's got a pretty smile.
I hope he listens to this. No, Charlie takes it serious. He makes sure I'm safe all the time.
Nothing more wrong with that.
No, I'm glad.
Yeah,
Then I can relax.
Good guy.
So let's talk about the other budget thing that's interesting. Well, I don't. It's actually more frustrating than interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting wasn't the right word. So the cannabis bill that they passed was vetoed by Governor Spanberger, and now what they're doing is this part of the budget they've agreed upon is they are now putting cannabis retail into the budget. She will sign that line in the budget, Governor Spanberger will, and we will have, I believe, 350 retail cannabis outlets or whatever they're going to call them, stores, starting in 2020, June or July of 2027.
And that was the silly thing about this, Will, is that was one of the vetoes that she put in the original bill. Was she wasn't comfortable with the number of licenses and locations that the original bill called for. It's not that Spanberger is against cannabis retail, because she's not. She vetoed it ultimately because she didn't get her way. Because she reduced, if I remember correctly, she reduced the number from 350 to 200 stores. And of course, the General Assembly, Paul Krizik led the way, and Senator Aird led the way on the Senate side to no, we don't want just 200 stores. So the budget item,
would you?
Yeah, really. So the budget item, like you said, is going to allow for 350 retail locations, and she's going to. It sounds like she's going to sign that. But
Yeah,
that's not the way you legislate.
No, that's the frustrating part.
You don't legislate through the budget when you have the trifecta, and you can't agree enough to get a what I would consider as cannabis retail. Maybe not the same type of staple policy as abortion, but I would say that cannabis retail is a staple policy for the Democratic Party, meaning this is that this is one of the policies that holds the Democratic Party together. This is one of the policies they're known about, they're known for. And when you've got the trifecta, meaning you've got the executive branch and you've got both chambers of the legislative branch, and you can't get a piece of legislation passed through where you can agree on it, and then you have to sneak it into the budget. And here's the frustrating part: is how many citizens of the Commonwealth actually are dorks like you and me and read the budget, and even if they did, understand it.
It's not what a budget's for.
No. The budget is to pay teachers. The budget is to finance the government. It is not to take a piece of legislation that didn't pass and sneak it into so that the people that pay the budget don't know what's going on.
No, it's incredibly frustrating because what is the point? That's why I texted you. Why are we even doing legislation?
Exactly.
Let's just have a budget session, and be done with it.
Yeah.
What do we do all that time for down in Richmond if we're just going to put it in the budget anyway, regardless of what anyone says? Like, if it's vetoed, it should be vetoed.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're going to sneak it back into the budget. And I mean, my personal feelings are this is a bad idea. It hasn't gone well. Anywhere that is legalized cannabis, it has not gone well.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the tax revenue that you think it is. And it just brings more crime.
Yeah,
that's all that happens. And where are they putting 350, by the way? Because that's an interesting question. Low-income areas.
Yep. Bill said it's about a 90-page bill. It's ridiculous. Thankfully, the pieces of legislation that we read aren't quite that long. But it's about a 90-page bill, and what the bill said is that the areas that they're targeting for stores are those areas that have had 50% or greater of crime, drug-related crime in those areas, and they want to give licenses to individuals who have had previous drug charges themselves. Okay, so you want to take and I'm not, and I'm gonna be blunt. I know y'all are shocked at this, and I'm not meaning anything by pejorative, but you want to put you want to give a license to a
This is drug dealer.
drug dealer,
Yeah.
to open up a store.
Yeah, state license.
So what is it going to turn into?
We're state.
It's going to turn into a state mandated drug dealing store.
Yeah.
That was the part of the bill that, okay, I'm like you, I don't agree with the usage of it, the retail of it anyway. But that was the part of the bill that absolutely, I was incredulous when I read that. I said, okay, really, guys? You want to give licenses to people that have had drug charges in the past and put those stores in areas of high drug usage?
Yeah. Because it's just money.
That's all.
They don't care about morality.
No.
I say the same thing every time I see these No Kings protests. You know what drives me nuts? I don't care about the protest. Protest whatever you want. That's your right. I don't have to agree with it.
Right.
But that's your right. But you know what these people will do is scream about No Kings and scream about this and that, and they will walk right past a public elementary school where those kids can't read.
Yeah.
And they will say nothing.
Yep. Yep.
That's where I have to say, like you always say, give me a break. That's what upsets me about those. I don't care. You don't like President Trump? Go for it. Let her rip. That's your right.
Yep.
You know, I served in the military. Like, I have tons of friends. We all went to do that stuff for your rights.
Mm-hmm.
Let her rip. But don't talk to me about morality when you're walking and protesting right past the school where kids can't read.
Right. Exactly.
Save that part for somebody else. Same thing with this cannabis retail thing.
Yep. And what they've got is they've got a 6% state tax. Okay, this goes into effect February 1 of 2027. They've got, get this, they've increased the personal possession limit from 1 ounce to 2 ounces. Okay? It's a 6% state cannabis tax that's increasing to 8% in 2029. Then there is a 3.5% local tax. So I'm gonna get my handy dandy little calculator here because I don't want to. I can't look dumb on live. I do my stupidity in private.
We're getting pretty good at this.
So you're looking at, by the time 2029, you're looking at 16.5% tax on Canada. Give me a break.
Nobody's doing.
Nobody's going to pay that. They're going to go right back to the black market where they're getting it right now, which is why I didn't work in Colorado, because the sales tax was so high that they started going back to the black market, which is why the 10 years after Colorado opened their cannabis retail, 35 to 40% of their cannabis sales is still through the black market because nobody can afford the taxes. 16.5% sales tax because it's at 8%.
What is it next year?
It starts in February 1, 2027. Now it starts out at a 6% cannabis tax, but it increases to 8% in 2029. Then you add a 1 to 3.5% local tax plus existing sales tax, which is about local sales tax, which is about another 5%. So if you use the larger scale numbers, okay, the 8% in 2029, 3.5% local tax, and then another 5%, that's 16.5% sales tax on cannabis users. And what the bill says, it says that the personal possession limit is for 1 ounce, has been changed from 1 ounce to 2 ounces. But you know what most of the people don't know that the bill says? That's per transaction. Right. I buy 2 ounces, go outside, I come back, buy another 2 ounces. Because that's per transaction. That's not per day or per week or whatever. That's per transaction. So if you got the money, just do separate transactions. You and I know how this is going to go down.
Yeah.
You got these drug stores. Well, I can't use that term. These are legitimate drug stores. You got these pot shops.
Yeah.
That are being run by people with former drug charges, and you know exactly how we're going to do this because my bud's coming in to buy some marijuana. I can't sell you but 2 ounces per transaction. Okay, you want 10 ounces? Okay, fine. I will just do 5 transactions.
Well, yeah. That's all it'll be. Is just
And I have yet to see will one ABC store stop drunk driving
no,
or stop abuse in the home.
no, because what people will do is go, well, the state legalized it.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Yeah, because our morality is off now.
Well, somebody asked me the day, okay, Dr. Huffman, what's the answer? The answer is Jesus Christ. Well, we understand that ultimately, but legally, the answer is you give real punishment to these crimes. Okay, you make cannabis illegal again, like it should be, but you don't give them a $25 slap on the wrist, slap on the hand for possessing it. You bring down real charges, real penalties for their crimes that you hold them accountable for, and that will, okay, you're not going to change the human heart, so it will always be those people that commit it. But if you have real punishments for these crimes, and you give real deterrents to practicing these things, that's what needs to happen. Not have the attitude, well, people are doing it anyway. Let's make it legal so that the state can make 16.5%.
Well, it's a huge part. This is where the schools come in for me. There should be consequences for actions, but then you're also not giving anyone hope because nobody's fixing the school.
No.
So the kids these days, they have no dreams, they have no ambitions, they don't think they can go anywhere. Half of them, especially in the Commonwealth of Virginia, I'm sorry, but we don't have good schools.
No.
You know what I mean? And you have to have the ability to read and give people hope. And instead of spending money where they should spend money, this is the thing about socialism, because it never works. What we've done is, what we're working on doing is creating a class of nobles, and it's the Democrat Party.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to take the tax revenue from the cannabis market that they're going to have, and where's that money going?
Well, they claim that it's going to the early childhood development programs.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Why?
That's the claim.
Some of this stuff is easy. Take the computers out of schools.
Yeah.
Get these kids on a path where they can achieve something.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, Will, you're not going to hurt, and this is a pet peeve of mine because you and I are educators. You're not going to hurt the psyche of a child to allow them to fail a class. You're not helping a child by saying, well, it's going to hurt you emotionally if we let you fail, so we're going to push you along, and you're going to graduate from high school. You can't fill out a job application. You can't sign your name. You don't know the alphabet because we didn't want to hurt your emotions. Well, what's going to hurt a child's emotions more? Failing a class and mastering it and passing it, or trying to figure out life, not being able to know how to read?
Yeah, exactly. Same thing with people coming out of prison. I used to help people coming out of prison. I do. The only reason I don't anymore is because just I'm busy, and it's a lot of work to do that. But you know who's there to pick those people up? It's people like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Democrats are not going to prison, picking you up and making sure that you get a job, making sure that you have a place to live where you're going to stay sober, and giving you hope through the power of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing that. They'll just give you your rights back and say good luck, or they'll let you have a weed shop. Is that what your ambitions are in life?
Yeah.
To have a weed shop to get more people addicted?
Yeah. This
stuff never goes well because look at the addiction rates we already have. So how on earth is the answer to just legalize it?
Right.
And the state will get some tax money. Congratulations. We could get our tax money from the data centers, apparently.
Exactly.
Could we not do that instead?
Yeah.
That's $2 billion.
Yeah. Senator Aird in the press release said that Virginia legalized adult possession years ago, but without a regulated retail market, we left the illicit market to fill the gap. Okay, I'm glad you think that this is going to widen that gap.
You think the illicit market's going anywhere?
Yeah, right. Give it a rest, Senator Aird. You don't have a clue. This compromise gives us a smarter and safer path forward, one that protects consumers, keeps products tested and accurately labeled, and creates a legal marketplace that is affordable and accessible enough to actually actually compete. Compete with what? Too many have suffered real harms for us to get here, and this agreement reflects responsible regulations to protect young people, gives Virginia a safe legal option, and avoids criminalizing. Here's the key: and avoids criminalizing adult use. Why are you Democrats so bent on that adults have to be able to use something that it has been medically proven causes cognitive problems in the brain of an adult?
Because it's all about power and votes.
Because what she did not, and what she did not say in this is the 16.5% sales tax that it's going to bring into the Commonwealth. That is the fill the gap that the Democrats are looking for.
I wish they would spend more time on, instead of making cannabis more affordable, why don't we make power more affordable? Why don't we make a whole list of other things more affordable that is way worth more time?
Yeah.
Why do we not? That's the stuff that drives me nuts. Don't virtue signal about cannabis. Pick a different hill to die on.
Right.
We have teenagers. No other generation of teenagers besides this one is on more pills in the history of this country.
Yeah.
We have enough ways to get high. We don't need another one that is legal. And that's what people are going to go. They're going to go, well, this isn't dangerous because the state said it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same weed from the 60s.
No.
It's not the same thing. It's all it's going to do is drive crime up.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take advantage of people. And the state's going to profit off of drugs.
Yeah.
That's the kind of society we want to be, where we're profiting off drugs.
Because I don't think there's anybody who would disagree that marijuana is a gateway drug. Now, does everybody go on and use harder stuff? No. But you can ask most drug officers. I've spoken to several, and they all agree that while not everyone goes on, the vast majority of people that do hard drugs started with marijuana.
Well, they always use this really like pie in the sky example. And those people exist. Like, I'm sure there is someone out there who uses cannabis once a month,
mm-hmm.
and it's totally fine, and it doesn't go any further than that. I'm positive those people exist. When I was drinking and I wasn't sober, I've been sober for like, I don't know, 11 or 12 years now. I knew people that could have a beer and be totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was one beer and they were done. They had it with dinner or whatever. That was not me. And that wasn't the people I hung out with.
Right.
Either.
Right.
They stop with this, like, well, we just want to make it safe for the people who want to use it.
Yeah.
Argument. No, that one person who does it once a month will be fine not doing it.
Yeah.
They won't even care.
Yeah.
What you're doing is unleashing something that is going to be really hard to put back in the bottle.
And I love what Delegate Krizik said. Delegate Krizik was the patron of the House version. He said, quote, "For too long, the failed war on drugs imposed real consequences on individuals, families, and communities while doing little to create lasting public safety." Okay. We want to talk about your real war on drugs? $25 civil. Okay. Back before marijuana became legal in Virginia, it was a $25 civil penalty for possession. Delegate Krizik, you going to call that real consequences? If I'm a drug dealer, I'll pay out $25 and have a civil fine. No problem.
Yeah.
That's not a real consequence. No. Where we have failed is when the Commonwealth of Virginia decided, because of its liberal policies that the Democrats like to legislate, they wanted to give drug users, and they proved this. Ray Cousins from the Richmond City with her legislation to get rid of mandatory minimums. The Democrats show time and time again they have absolutely no care to hold people responsible for crimes.
No, and they don't. Well, because they don't want to do the work that's on the other side of it either.
No.
So if we're going to have consequences and we're going to have a prison system, then we also have to have the ability to help people, and they're not in there.
No. You know what they want? Here's what they want. They want to.
It's a pipeline for them to keep getting votes. They don't care
Because when they get out, they want to immediately give them the rights back to vote.
Yeah, because it's common sense. You know what I mean? Like
It's just a big circle.
Yeah, it's just common sense. If you're a felon and you get out because they got rid of the mandatory minimum, so you were looking at 20 years and you get a year, and then you get your rights right back restored to you, who are you going to vote for?
Exactly.
It's not rocket science,
Right?
Like, and I don't blame a person. Like,
I'd vote for the people that let me out too.
yeah,
That's
it's
human-
not. I'm
That's
not.
human nature.
Yeah, I'm not judging a person who's that.
Right.
Like, that's human nature. Of course, you're going to do
It's
that.
called quid pro quo in legal terms. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
But like I have a problem with the failed war on drugs thing. Like, you don't have to agree with everything that President Trump does, but he goes after drug dealers
Yes.
and blows up drug boats, and everyone freaks out on him.
That's a real war on drugs. And
Like, these people are bringing in. There's enough fentanyl in this country. Like, people are dying from fentanyl, and what are the you know what you're supposed to notify parents if there's a fentanyl overdose in your school.
Mhm.
You know what happened in Loudoun County schools?
What?
They didn't notify about 10 of them.
imagine that.
So spare me the virtue signaling about the war on drugs, because what are they doing? What is their answer to it then? Their answer is to just let it rip.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We failed at this. It didn't work. No, you stop what you're doing. If it's not working, you readjust, you learn your lessons, and you move forward with a different plan. The answer isn't, well, we failed at this, so we're just going, what's next then?
Mhm.
And what's the conclusion? Then we're just going to legalize all of them?
Right.
We did cannabis.
Why not?
Why not?
You know, thinking about
We can tax it.
yeah, would make you more money. Think about it.
Tax fentanyl. We'll make it safer because you can only buy 2 pills at this store,
right.
and we'll make sure that you don't die.
Yeah.
You know what I heard I don't know that I don't know that much about Maryland, but sometimes when I'm up near DC, I get the Maryland commercials like on the radio. And there was a commercial when I was listening to the race going home the other day after preaching, and I got a Maryland commercial talking about how they can give free training. This is a good idea, by the way, but it's sad we've gotten here. Free training on how to administer Narcan, because there's so many overdoses, and that they will train you how to do it, so that if it doesn't work, you also don't get in trouble, which you should.
Right.
You shouldn't get in trouble if you give someone Narcan and it doesn't work. So I'm not crazy. It is a good idea to give training on how to do that, but that's where we're at.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I remember we had to have a discussion if we were going to have Narcan in our church.
Right.
There was a bunch of meetings, legit meetings, and you can buy Narcan at grocery stores.
Well, you walk into I don't know if you noticed or not, but you walk into the General Assembly building, there's at least one safe box of boxes of Narcan.
Yeah.
The first 3 floors of the General Assembly building. The strange thing about it is the contradictory thing about it is that the war on guns that the Democrats say they're fighting is we don't want young people bringing guns to school because they have access to dad's guns. Well, okay, so you create a cannabis retail market. Dad goes to the pot shop, buys 2 ounces per transaction. You don't think Johnny is going to find that marijuana and bring it to school? Give me a break.
Or you don't think they're going to get
Use it themselves at home?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah, it's
silly. It's poor legislation, and okay, they're praising that they've come to an agreement. Okay, fine.
a disingenuous way to legislate.
It is very disingenuous because it hides it from the people, like we said before.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry, I didn't interrupt.
no, it's fine. So if you've come to the Spanberger, Krizik, and area to come to an agreement, fine. Then bring it back in 2027.
Yeah.
Don't try to hide it from the people of the Commonwealth by making it a budget item. And then these poor people in the lower income areas of the Commonwealth, next thing you know, they got a pot shop in their back door. Oh, but it's got to be 1,000 feet from any school or hospital. Well, thank you very much.
Well, yeah, I'll give him credit for that. If we're going to do it, at least just thank you for that. I don't know. I get frustrated with just the disingenuous language that people use. Like when I speak, I say what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm blunt sometimes. Maybe I'm too blunt sometimes, and that's fair. Maybe I see things in black and white because, to be honest, most of the time it is.
Yeah.
Things are less gray than people think. Now, I will be fair and say that sometimes it is a little bit of a discussion point or gray area, whatever you want to call it, and I shouldn't see things like that. I get too. I know myself pretty well, but what I get tired of is, well, the war on drugs failed, so we need to give people a safe way to use drugs. What? How is? And you hear this from them all, and this is where I actually will give President Trump credit. Again, I don't care for the language he uses, but he'll at least tell you things.
Mm-hmm.
Not the way I would say things. He's more blunt than I am with his language.
Yeah.
But from the Democrats' side, they just tell you things. And you're like, what did you just say?
Mm-hmm.
It's just nonsense. So we want to give people and this is where they're going to make it affordable. So we finally get some affordability in their platform. Is pot. Thank you. All you we've been yelling about affordability. We got it, folks. Just wasn't what we thought. Just be honest with us. You want the tax money. And you want people high and you want them not thinking. Just say it.
Virginia's for potheads.
Yeah. Virginia's. Actually, I learned that they came up with that slogan, Virginia's for lovers, so that they could do it for all kinds of different things. It was very, like when they came up with it. So like all the shirts and stuff, they could just reorder different shirts. So yeah, we could do Virginia's for potheads. Like, just be honest with us. Of all the things you could have fixed, you gave us affordable pot.
If you folks don't remember anything about this show today, remember Pastor Will said that. The affordability through pot.
Yeah. Somebody told me recently, I've never heard a pastor speak like you. I was like, I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, just be honest. Same thing.
That's the highlight of the show, Will. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I need that laugh.
Yeah, we're getting good at this. Maybe we'll morph into a comedy show. We'll just be a traveling political comedy show.
I can. What was that thing called? Not when people buy your show. I don't know. You got a show that aired on television, and people buy the rights to it.
Oh, yeah, the rights. Yeah.
Maybe people buy the rights to our show.
And maybe we're for sale. If anybody wants to let Dominion Energy know.
If you want to give a $2 billion tax break, the king of politics.
Oh, man. Can you imagine next week we're like, hey, these data centers aren't that bad. Shit.
Oh, man.
People do that, though. They buy. Did you know that? They buy influencers. They'll pay them like $7,000, $10,000, $12,000 a post to tell you stuff.
I believe that. I'm looking for a driver.
You know what my dream was? You ever watch The Lincoln Lawyer or read those books?
Yeah.
I wanted to be the Lincoln pastor. So, like, track me around. I work out of my Lincoln. If you don't know me, I have a Kia, not a Lincoln, but I could be the Kia pastor.
My wife and I.
We're so way off the rails now.
It's ironic that you bring up. My wife and I, for the last week, have been going through that series on Netflix, The Lincoln Lawyer.
That's good.
And because I'm fanatic about the law.
Yeah.
And I'll pause the program and I'll say, now Sweetheart, do you understand what the Fourth Amendment is? Let me explain. And we'll go on. Okay, sweetheart, do you understand what a habeas corpus is or a habeas petition? And she said, "Would you just play the show?"
Oh,
But yeah, that's what I told my wife. I said, "Can you imagine how much more I could get done if I had someone driving me around the Commonwealth and I could sit in the back seat and work?"
yeah.
I mean, because the only thing you got to do is tether your laptop to your phone,
Yeah.
and it's the same way you're sitting on the internet at home or in your office. But yeah, so maybe
I like to do a lot of worldview stuff.
Yeah.
I have destroyed movies for people. Like people, they'll come like, "Oh, what do you think about this movie?" And I'm like, "Well, let me tell you the worldview and the biblical." They'll just walk away and they just won't talk to me about movies anymore.
yeah, I'll talk to him. If I talk to him at all, that'll be after I watch it.
Yeah.
Maybe Charlie would be your driver.
Be nice. Oh, he's got a job now.
Come lead the county or the city.
Yeah, but I can't pay him what they do. But I can't pay him anything. That's the problem.
That may be a deterrent.
Yeah. This is a good show.
Oh man, it's more and more fun. We're gonna have Karen Hamilton, Dr. Karen Hamilton on here before long. We don't have a date yet, but
Yeah.
something to put in our radar. She's up in Washington today because her husband Cameron.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yes, congratulations to Cameron. Cameron Hamilton is a great man. I know him personally. I spent a lot of time with he and Delegate Hamilton. He's a great guy, and he is now being confirmed today. He's probably already happened, which is why she wasn't on today as the director of FEMA.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So he is a great guy. So congratulations, Cameron. You just deserve it, brother. And we're so happy for you, and happy for your wife. And she is a deep-rooted tree in Richmond.
Yeah.
And she and I have to encourage each other a lot.
Yeah, we call people. We try our best to be fair, and I think we were today to both Republicans and Democrats, but all of the people that are standing up for us as Christians. We need to support them with everything we can. And so for Christians, I'm assuming if you listen to this, you probably are a Christian. Reach out to your.
If you're not, you turn us off after about 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, you're one of the ones that were like 5-second view.
What's he putting this month?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We had support them though. Reach out to them, let them know, send an email or support, because it's hard.
Yeah.
Same thing with pastors. If you're blessed enough to have a pastor who's standing up, let them know that you're praying for them, because it's hard.
Yeah.
And everybody needs encouragement.
1,500 pastors leave the pulpit leave the ministry every year.
You know what the average career length of a pastor is?
What's that?
5 years.
Wow.
You know what the average career length of an NFL player is?
What?
6 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Well, if you're pastor and then NFL player, you got 11 years.
Some people do both.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Not that fast.
No.
What we got to plug? The website. There's a new section on there. Get involved. We're trying to get just what we talked about with encouraging people. You can sign up on there. Not a bunch, but a few people have already signed up on there. We're going to be sending out information and helping people get involved with the process. We have to come together as Christians. Just like when we called, talking about the Republican Party earlier, we can't wait on people.
No.
We got to start moving.
Yeah.
And this is the way that we can do that. And so it's on the website, thekingdompolitics.org. You can go to get involved and sign up there, and it'll send a message directly to myself and Dr. Huffman. And then once we get some more names on there, we'll start sending some things out and getting involved. So we're asking people, if all you can do is send emails and make phone calls, that's great.
Yeah.
If you want to go to Richmond with us, awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's not a matter of well, I can't go to Richmond, so I can't be involved. No, we want people where you're at.
Yeah.
And if you want to go to Richmond but you're nervous, then let's start with some emails and let's start on some phone calls. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can sign up there. You can also find all the episodes, the articles, everything's on there. Everything is there. TheKingdomPolitics.org, our emails are on there. It's the best place to go. But please sign up. You're not asking for money, by the way. I'm not going to sell your data. I'm a very private person. I take that stuff very seriously. So it's nothing weird at all. It's about coming together as Christians and one, holding people accountable that are in office, but second, encouraging those that are there.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot of big plans over the summer, and we got big plans going into the fall, and we got some other plans when they go back in session.
Yeah.
And we're gonna need help.
Yep.
And so if you're good at social media, whatever it is, wherever your strengths are, go to the website, click on volunteer, and then put in the little message box where your strengths are. And then on the flip side, if you just want to be part of the prayer team, that's an option too. We definitely need prayer. So I think I explained that one pretty good.
Yeah, and also go to the articles page of the website. Some great articles on there.
Yes.
That will encourage you and that will inform you. And so, yeah, just do that, and that's another thing that you can do that will benefit yourself.
Yes, and we have a newsletter function on there as well now. So we really rounded out that website pretty good.
Yeah.
And so those articles get emailed out. I think I did it on Sunday last week. At the end of the week, I'll put a bunch of stuff together and send it out. So you can also put your email into there and it'll come straight to your inbox. But
yeah.
Anything else, sir?
No, I think that's it. Cool. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good episode, and enjoy your trip.
Thanks. I will.
Look, you stiff.
I know. Yeah, I'll be fishing.
Yeah.
I would hope everybody has an awesome week, a prayerful week. Be in prayer for Virginia. Be in prayer for your leaders, and try to spread the gospel.
Yeah.
Find somebody to talk to about Jesus.
That's the answer.
All the things we talk about at the end of the day, it's all about the Lord.
Amen.
Play out some Spurgeon.
And I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I. Send me."
Rise up.